What's going on, trainers? Look, season one of Kardmi has been an incredible journey, and as a partner, I've kind of watched this game grow up, and the foundation, I think, is really, really solid. They have something special here, there's no doubt. But I think for Kardmi to really evolve and stand out among the competition, there are a few key areas that we can innovate. And today, I'm going to break down 3 or 4 of these game-changing features that I think could make the world of Gerdon feel even more alive and more incredible than what they already are. Let's dive in. So for me, when I picked up Kardmi, one of the most exciting features and one thing that I had looked for in my creature tamer game, because let's not get twisted, there are plenty of creature tamer games, monster tamer games on mobile. And one thing I looked for though was a multiplayer one. And I know that's not everyone's jam, but I coming from Temtem, my wife used to play Temtem quite a bit until we like beat the game and they really stopped supporting the game. Well, I found this game a couple months ago, and I was really excited to tell her about it. I was like, "Hey, we can play together. We can battle together. We can battle against each other. We can, play these mini games together. I'm hearing there's a housing system that we can, build houses and visit each other's houses, and that's really cool. I was really excited about that. And fast forward to us both playing, and she actually no longer plays, but obviously I still do. And the big reasons that she no longer plays are its fact that it's not very social. It's not a very social game. Yeah, there are some events that you can do with teammates, but they're very far and few between. And the housing system leaves a lot to be desired. It's not so much a housing system as it really is just a camp system, really, and that's okay, I guess. But I think the housing system needs to be spruced up. Like if you added more like furniture and more of a housing system and less of like a campsite kind of system, and gave people reasons to come over there and hang out at your house. Maybe you could interact with some of the furniture and things of that nature. That would really be cool. Like it just leads me into like this first like thing that I want to talk about is that more sociability added to the game. I would really, really like to be able to progress the campaign with my wife. And I know that would draw in a massive audience for Kardmi because, there are so many duos out there that would enjoy playing the game with their significant other or a friend of theirs or a sibling. It's just the options are limitless. Like the sky is the ceiling when it comes to sociability. We already have social aspects in the game. We have a foundation for it. So why not expand on it? I mean, one of the first things I did when I played Card Me was I noticed the Divine Descent event going on. And matter of fact, it's going on again right now on my server. But it has a really cool raid-like mechanic where you queue up with other players or you can specifically queue up with your friends and you battle across a few waves of Card Me and then you confront the raid boss, which is Sylvian, and you capture the legendary Card Me. I would love to see more events because to date, that's pretty much the only one that exists. Pikagare and God, what is the name of the other Genelex? The other two legendaries for season one, but their events are nothing close to Sylvian's event. And I think if we had more raid-like mechanics, that would be a step in the right direction in terms of sociability. Additionally, I really think it would go a long way, and I know it probably require some kind of engine rebuild or something, but if you could go out into the wild with your friends, not just see your friends in town, but like go out into the wild and capture Kardmi together, fish together, battle NPCs together, take on arenas together with your friends, that would be an amazing feature, and it would skyrocket this game in popularity. Those are just some things that when it comes to sociability factor, I would really love to see in the game. And I'm that and the other things I'm going to mention on this list, I don't expect in season three, but I would really feel like probably need to be in the game by 1.0 launch. whenever that is, whenever the plan for that is. But moving on from sociability, let's talk a little bit about variation. So Kardmi has a tremendous creature design team. Like, the creature design is really well done, in my opinion. But one thing I've heard from the community and I've experienced myself is that the game has a little bit of problem with variety. Um, I did a little bit of counting. I did some math. There's 107 Kardmi in the game currently, and 51 of those are bipedal creatures. And I don't know if it bothers you the way it bothers me. I understand the logic behind it. Like, some people, they can kind of grow more attached to a bipedal creature because they look at it more than just an animal, right? But I feel like there's not enough quadrupeds in the game because, like, think about what you could have. We have more than one fox slash wolf type creature in the game, but only one keeps that form. Like, we have Pyro, we have Bambrax, we have um, Thunder Rough, but they don't keep that form. Like, each one of those turns into, except for Bambrax, turns into a bipedal wolf-like creature, werewolf-type creature, and that's fine if they don't keep doing it, right? I feel like it would be a lot cooler for us to have, as a community, to have more wolf-like, more lion-like, more, quadrupedal creatures, dragons, things like that. Things that are running around on four legs instead of the majority of them running around on two, if that makes any sense. That's just a personal preference for me. But in addition to that, when it comes to variety, a big complaint, and I am one of the most vocal about it, is the shiny palette. I don't think there's enough variation in shinies. Like, I think I counted, it was close to 35 or 40% of all shinies in this game simply have a purple color palette, either purple or like a vibrant hot pink. And I just don't think that's varied enough for people to want to go out and capture shot, even though they have really good stats. Like, they have close to perfect stats across the board. I just don't think I'm one of those people. Yeah, I have some Cardby that I really like a lot, like Fire Flare. Really like him a lot. Went out, caught an alpha of him, but I looked at the shiny and I was like, it's just purple. I don't want that. I mean, I'll sacrifice the stats to avoid having a purple fire flare. Like, if he was a different color, I might like it. Maybe a different orange color, or maybe a yellow, maybe a green. I don't like that. 30 to 40% of these shinies are purple or hot pink. And that's not to be like, say like the feminine colors or anything. I just don't think that many creatures should share that same color palette. Uh, Moving on from that subject a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about, we're still in the variety aspect of things, but one thing I think would be cool is if, and I've pitched it before, I don't know how many of you guys play Temtem, but they had shiny Temtem, and then they also had another kind of varied form of the same kind of card me, which would be like a dark purple, shadowy, like glowing eyes. So they called it Umbras. It would be cool if we could get something like that. Or if you don't want to do that, take the alphas that you have and allow them to keep their size. It would be really cool to go into a battle and you're fighting a card me like a Thunder Rough or a Bambrax or a Fire Flare, and they're an alpha, and you can tell they're an alpha when someone calls them out, like when you're playing PvP, because they're larger than they normally are. And then you got that in your kind of mind, like, hey, this guy caught an alpha. That's pretty cool. And then, like, if you want to go even further down that rabbit hole, you could have, yeah, shiny alphas. That would be something even further to chase. That would be really cool, because not all alphas have um, great stats. We know that. I'm sure you guys have caught alphas and you're like, why is this an alpha? It's only got one silver stat. That happened to me earlier today. Um, so being able to have the ability to keep your alpha as the same size or even catch shiny alphas would be really cool and would go a long way for variation. And I'm suggesting all this because it kind of saves the team some money and gives us more to chase because they don't have to completely redesign creatures, but at the same time, like they do need to add a little bit more color variation and give us more to chase, especially these seasons are going to be 3 to 4 months long. Like I know towards the end of this season, I was like, I've caught everything I want to caught. I've fought everything. I've got everything I want to do. Every goal I have set for myself in season 1, I have completed, except for defeating the Elite Four. Like, I'm just kind of pushing it off. Like, and that's saying good things about Kardmi. Like, I'm saying that there's so much content in Kardmi that I never got around to it. Like, I was right there at the fortress. So I had like 3 more people to beat before I challenged him. But it just, I had other goals in mind before that. And the final thing that I wanted to talk about is, still in the vein of variety. I feel like we should have, like I was been saying, different forms. Like, if you look at the game Anemo, I'm going to let this video play in the background. This is from Anemo Sync. He's a really good content creator over on their side of things. But you can just see the different base Anemo, and then they'll have 2 or 3 various forms. That would go so far for Kardmi, and it really helps when it's in terms of like egg hatching, evolution. It really just gives the players more to discover, more to aim to capture, and that's really the whole goal and the whole point of these Monster Tamer games. So I'm gonna let this play, like I said, and I really hope that in the future, 7 Pirates on House, I know you guys are listening, that this is the direction that the game takes. It really gives us a lot to capture, a lot to look forward to every single season. But that is all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.